Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Michelle Bobola. Welcome to the Word is Fun webinar. Today we're going to talk about columns, graphics, watermarks, borders, all the fun things that you can do in Word to make your documents look interesting. Also, we have points to consider. Audio is on your computer only. The web client won't do sound if you're running Windows XP. If you can use the text window to ask questions, but if you do have any questions about the webcast, please hold them until the end of the webinar because it will move quickly. It will also be posted on YouTube in the future so that if you want to watch it at your own pace and move slower and take notes, you will be able to do that. The upcoming webinar topics for the rest of the year are listed. We're going to do Visio in September, flowcharts and org charts, and some basic Visio if you use that program. Organizing your emails, introduction to Excel basics, introduction to PowerPoint basics, and using the data ribbon in Excel. The lunch and hour topics for 2014 for Simplex are going to be servers in the cloud in September, October 15th, when is it obsolete, security strategies for the SMB, annual Geek Raffle, IT trends for 2015. September 11th is going to be the introduction to Visio. Other events will be listed in the newsletter and in the, you can contact Bob at simplex-it.com. So we're going to go ahead and get started with today's webinar. So as you can see, I'm going to bring up quickly, we're going to work on a document and go ahead and make it look like this today using borders and graphics, watermarks. We're also going to work on a flyer working with word art, text boxes, graphics also. So I'm going to start with a blank document, and I have this blank document that I created, and if you notice, I used the heading styles on the home ribbon to go ahead and create the styles for the title. So if you see, if I click here where it says A Century of Pop, it says heading 1. If I click here, it says heading 2, heading 2. Now, the benefit of using headings is you can work with the headings when you're working with a table of contents. It'll build a table of contents using the headings. You'll also notice with 2013 a little arrow to the left of the heading. And if I click on that arrow, it actually collapses that whole section in my document. So if I click on it again, it expands out. If you notice, if I click where it says A Century of Pop, the whole document disappears because that's heading 1. If I expand it, you'll see that I can see all of the headings, and then every time I click on the arrow to the left of a heading, it hides it. So what's nice about that is if you want to hide it and print it, you can. So it automatically hides it and collapses it like an outline. The other thing about headings too is if you use the Find button on the home ribbon, it brings up the navigation window on the left. And if I click where it says headings, right here, I can use those heading styles to actually go to the different parts of my document quickly and move around quickly and fast. So the heading styles actually work very well when you're working with a document. So now I want to turn this into a 3-column document. So I'm going to go to the page layout ribbon, and right here it says columns. And if I click on the drop down arrow, I can do 1, which is the default. That 1 column is always the default in Word. You can do 2, you can do 3, you can do left, right, 1 column is bigger than the other, or I can go to more columns. When I bring up the more columns window, even though it goes up to 3, I can actually increase the columns to as many as I want. So I can go to 4, I can go to 5, whatever you want to do. So I'm actually going to choose 3. When you choose the columns, you have it set for equal column width, meaning that all the columns are going to be the same size. But if I uncheck that box, I can actually make another column wider than the other column. So if I want to make the middle column wider or the left column wider and the other 2 smaller, I can manually adjust those column widths by unchecking that box. I'm going to check it again so that they're all the same equal size, and it's applying it to the whole document. I could have selected a part of my document and applied it only to the selected part of it, or I could have used section breaks and applied it to a certain section in my document. So now I'm going to check the line between box, and that is going to put a line on between the columns, and click OK. So now I have my document in 3 columns. But now I notice towards the bottom of the first column that the post-war pop section is, I want it to be in the second column. So I don't want to use a page break because that would throw this on another page. I want to use what's called a column break. And I don't want to hit my enter key until it gets to the next column, because then I'm going to have all the spacing between the text. So I'm going to put my cursor in front of post-war pop. I'm going to go to the page layout tab, and under breaks, you're going to notice that there is a column break. So when I click on that, it's going to throw the post-war pop text into the next column. I'm going to do the same with the rock and roll. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go to breaks, column, and now I've thrown that into the next column. If you want to see your column breaks, you can go to the home ribbon, and you can click on the Show Hide button, which is right here, and you can even right-click on that and add it to your quick access toolbar, which in the past we've talked about this toolbar, and then you click on it, it shows you your paragraph marks, your spacing, and then it'll also show me my column breaks, so that if I need to get rid of them later when I'm moving around or doing something, adding more text or graphics, and I need to adjust those, I can. And then by clicking on it again, it turns it off. So you can see that I've just thrown this into the other column. Now the heading here, I want to put it so it's across the page, but I can't do that right now because these are set up as 3 columns. If I select the heading A Century a Pop, I'm going to go back to the page layout ribbon, and I'm going to go to columns, and I'm going to choose 1. By doing that, it dropped everything down, and this row right here is set to 1 column. So what that means now is if I go to the home ribbon and I choose the center button to center the text, and I want to make the text larger, or I want to change the font of the text, or if I want to change the color, I can do that, and I have everything centered. Now my heading is centered across the top of my page. Also, if I want to put a border around that heading, I'm going to go to the paragraph section on the home ribbon, and I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow to the right of the border, and I'm going to go ahead and click outside border, and that's going to put a box around that text. Now, the other thing is, you'll notice that I have my ruler up. If you're using 2013, you need to go to the View ribbon and check the ruler box if the ruler is not showing. You will notice on the ruler that I have my indents here, my left indents, my top first line, and my other indents, and then my right indent. So I'm going to click on the box here to move this over. So what I can do is, if I want to make the box smaller, I can just do that by moving the indents in, and then that way I can make the box smaller if I don't want it to go all the way across the page. You can also, on the home ribbon, use the bucket to fill in the colors, and if I don't like the color choices, I can go to More Colors, go to the Standard ribbon, and then go ahead and select a color from the prism and hit OK. If I want to change the border and make it thicker, I can go to the drop-down arrow, go to Borders and Shading, then I can change the thickness of the border, I can change the color of the border, and when I hit OK, I've just changed the border. And then if I want and hit enter after the word pop, I can drop the whole thing down so that there's spacing between the heading and the rest of my document. So now I have a heading at the top that I was able to center across my page by making this one column and then making the rest of it 3 columns. And if I click on the Show Hide button, you can see by doing that, it actually created a section break continuous, meaning that there's a section here that's 1 column, and then the section below it is 3 columns. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Different sections can be different settings. All right, now I'm going to select the I in Introduction, and I'm going to go to the Insert ribbon. By doing that, I'm going to use the drop cap feature. The drop cap feature, when you want it to look like a newspaper, you can go to Dropped, you can go to In Margin, which means it would be outside of the margin along the left, or you can go to Drop Cap Options. By doing that, if I hit Dropped, then I could change the font of the text. I could drop it. Now it's defaulted to drop it 3 lines. So the letter is going to be 3 lines right here. You can see a diagram of it. But if you don't want it to be that much, you just want to drop 2 lines or you want to drop 4 lines, you can change it. You can also change the distance of the rest of the text from the drop cap. So if I hit OK, you can see that it dropped it 2 lines here, and then it separated it. It has the distance from the text. If I want to change that, I can go to the drop cap options and go back to 0 for the distance, just so you can see the difference, that it's not as far away, but it's still only 2 lines. And 3 lines would have been this one, and 4 lines, etc. So that just makes the letter larger. Now I'm going to select the P in post-war. I'm going to hold my Control key down and select the letter C in Chicago Blues, and I'm going to select the rock and roll, R, and then the R in rockabilly. So I've selected all 4. I'm going to go to the drop cap. I'm going to go to drop cap options. I'm going to choose the middle one and do 2 and hit OK. Now by doing that, if you notice, it put the letter down below instead of up here. But that's an easy fix. What I can do is click after this paragraph, go to Page Layout, insert a column break, and then bring up my Show Hide button, get rid of the column break that I did earlier by double-clicking and hitting my Delete key. Now that brings the text back with the drop cap. Same here, click after this paragraph down here, insert the column break after the paragraph, delete the column break that was there previously, and turn off the Show Hide button. So now you can see that it brought the text back with its title. So I have my drop caps now. Now I also noticed towards the bottom that I have 2 lines that are ending up on a new page. So on the Page Layout tab, there is a margins, and of course everybody's familiar with margins, but what they've done is they've created some quick margins that you can choose from without having to go to the custom margin box and reset your margins that way. So I'm going to try the moderate, which is the default is an inch, is a ½ inch all the way, no, yeah, an inch. You'll see top, bottom, left, right. But if I pick the moderate, which keeps the top and bottom at an inch, but sets the left and right at 3/4 so that it's a little wider, I'm going to try that. And by doing that, you'll notice now that I'm back to 1 page. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with that one for now. It works for me. Now I'm going to look at inserting some pictures. So I'm going to go to the Insert ribbon. I'm going to click on the Picture button, which actually would then take you to your computer so you could access graphics that you have or pictures that you have on your machine. If you don't have pictures and you want to access things from the internet, you can go to Online Pictures, and in 2013 you can look at through the Office clip art, or you can go to Bing, which is Microsoft's search engine, and you can go ahead and type what you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and type musical notes. Now, if you do not have 2013, you can still go to the internet and you can also search graphics that way. and type musical notes, just make sure that when you click on it, you go ahead to images, and it'll just bring up all the images for the graphics that you're looking for. Meanwhile, back in the Word document, if I do that and hit enter, it'll just bring it up right here without me having to go to the internet and look for it. So I'm going to grab this graphic here and hit insert. It's going to download it into my document. And then what happens is I get the format ribbon that comes up for pictures. And in 2013 and 10, they really give you a lot of options for enhancing your graphics. One of the things that I'm going to do when I click on the graphic is I'm going to go to the text wrapping, which is up here, and there's usually a little button right next to the graphic, which I don't see right now, but I'm going to go up here to wrap text, and I'm going to choose through. When I choose through, then I'm going to go ahead and size the graphic. So you go to the circles in the corner and size the graphic, because if you use the corners to size, you don't distort the image. And when I choose through, I can then put my mouse in the center of the graphic, and I can actually move it anywhere on the page. And then the text just wraps right around the graphic. Then up on the ribbon, I can change the contrast or brightness of the graphic. I can change the color of the graphic if I want. I can even go in and add some artistic effects to make the graphic look a little bit more interesting. And then I have a graphic or a picture on my document. I'm going to go ahead and do that again. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to insert another online picture. This time I'm going to type Elvis. Well, I don't have to put Elvis Presley. I'm sure that I'll just get that. And I'm going to go ahead and choose that picture, hit insert. There it is. Again, I'm going to go ahead to wrap text, through, size it, and then I can move it where I want. So I can take it, move it down here, and I can remove the background if I wanted to, just to get the face, but I'll undo because I don't like that. I can change the color of the graphic if I want. I can add artistic effects to make it look different. I can go in if I wanted to and even do a border. If I wanted to make a little, like it's in a picture frame or whatever I want to do with it, I can do that, and it looks like a little button, and now it's in my document. Now, one of the things that they have, which is interesting if you go to the insert ribbon, is something called the quick parts gallery or the building block organizer. I can take a graphic and save it to use later if I want. So if you notice, I have this picture selected, and I'm going to go up to the quick parts gallery and click on the drop down arrow and choose save selection to quick parts gallery. So I'm going to call it Elvis, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it to, you can create your own categories if you want to create a new category for your pictures that you're creating, and you can put in a description, and you'll notice that it's saving in the building block organizer, or I'm going to hit OK, and now you say, well, where is it? So now when I click on quick parts, there it is. All I have to do is click on it, and it'll insert it into my document. If I bring up a new document and I go to insert, quick parts, and click on it, it's going to be there exactly the way I created it. And there's a little wrapping button that I was talking about, that when you bring it up, it automatically, you can choose the through button here to select the graphic if you need to. So you can do it here also. Now I'm going to go back to, I'm going to close this one and return to this document here. Now, if for some reason you want to edit this graphic, right click on it, and then you'll notice that you can insert it, the header, the footer, beginning of a section, or you can go to organize and delete. It'll take you to your building block organizer. It'll find it for you, because sometimes it's hard to find them. So instead of looking and scrolling through trying to find the graphic that you're editing, you just right-click and go to Organize and Delete. Then you could hit Edit Properties, you could change the name, you could change where you're storing it, or if you wanted to, you could choose to delete it from your building block organizer. One of the things that it will do is if I hit the Save button and then I would close out of my document, then, and I'll close these, one of the things it's going to ask you is you have modified styles, building blocks such as cover pages and headers. Do you want to save? So if you do want to save that for future use, you must hit the Save button. Otherwise, you won't see it the next time you open it up. So now I'm going to open back up my Word document. If I go to Insert, Quick Parts, you'll see that it's still there. All right. So now, before I talk about watermarks, you can make a picture a watermark. I'm going to go to Pictures, and in the Pictures on the desktop, in my folder, I have a guitar, and I'm going to insert it. And again, whoops, I don't want to insert it there, so I'm going to want to put it down here. Make sure you know where your cursor is before you insert things, because it may insert it in places you don't want it. So I'm going to insert it, and then one of the things I'm going to do, there's that wrap layout options button. I'm going to click on it, and instead of through, I'm going to choose behind text. So now I'm going to put my mouse on the border of the graphic and move it, and then I'm going to use the sizing to stretch it out and fill up the page. Now it's a little too dark for this document, so if I go to color or corrections, and I want to make it so that it's a little bit lighter, or if I want to change make it more like a watermark, whatever you want to do. If you want to change the color, maybe that's too dark. Whatever you do to kind of make it look washed out, then you can see the text, the graphics, and it's in the background. So now I took that guitar graphic and made it the background of this page. If I wanted to, I could also save this as a quick part. So I'm going to say Save Selection, and I'm going to call it the guitar background. So maybe you have a graphic of your company or something, a logo that you want to use as a background. So now when I bring up a new page and I go to Insert, Quick Parts, there's that background. I can put it in there. I can just rearrange it on the page, and I have it set to use for the next time I want to use it. So you can make a graphic a background, just send it behind the text. Now, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go to the Design ribbon, and on the Design ribbon to the far right, we can also use that graphic as a watermark, or we can do text watermarks. So if you click on the drop-down arrow, you'll notice that it automatically has some basic watermarks such as confidential, draft. You mark things as draft. You can scroll down and you'll see other ones, ASAP, urgent, sample, etc. Or you could go to custom watermark, and where it says text, you can actually type your own text. So you can type your text, you can choose whatever font you want, so you can click on the drop down and pick your font. So if I want that font, you can change the color, so if you want to change the color of it, and if I hit OK, you'll see it. Now if I go to File and I go to Print, so you can see it better, you'll see the watermark, text watermark, going across the page. Now, if I want a picture watermark, I'm going to go to Custom Watermark, choose Picture, because you can't do both. I'm going to hit Select Picture. And it's taking a little longer than I want. There we go. And then I could do from a file, Again, I can go to the internet to search for it or Office. I'm going to go to File, hit Browse. I'm going to choose the CD that I had in here. I'm going to hit Insert. I'm going to uncheck the washout just so you can see it better and hit OK. Now you can see I have the watermark in the center of the document. Now a watermark is just like a graphic in the background of the paper, so it's like stationary. Whereas if you put the picture in the background, it's still a graphic that if you move things around, you always have to work with it and move it around, whereas it's a watermark, it doesn't interfere with the graphics or text on the page. If I want to make this bigger, I'm going to go to Watermark, Custom Watermark. I'm going to go ahead and try 500 and then hit OK. Notice how it makes the watermark larger, fills up the page. You can go as large or as small as you want to make it. And now I have it on my page and you can see it. Now, if I did make it washout and hit OK, you just can't see it as clear. And if I went to File, Print, you'll see it when you print it. It's very, very faint. If you don't want it to interfere too much with the document, then you could make it washed out. I'm going to try 400 just to see about that, making it smaller. No, I like the 500. So I'm going to go back to 500 or whatever you want to make it. You can play around with the percentages and fill out the page. You'll notice down here I have a section of names, and I want to go ahead. This came from a book called A Century of Pop, so I just pulled excerpts out of it, and I want to put bullets here. I want to kind of make this look interesting. So I'm going to highlight my text. I'm going to go to, I could use the shortcut menu here to access my bullets, my little preview button thing. As soon as you highlight in Word, usually what happens when you highlight, you do get the the little formatting toolbar. So if I click on the little drop down arrow here, you can see some of the bullets I've used before, or I can go to Define New Bullet. And I can do two types of bullets. I can do symbols or pictures. Let's do symbols first. I'm going to go to the symbol window. This is your symbols that you have in Word. I'm going to go to the drop down arrow, and usually if I go down towards the bottom, I can get to the webdings, the wingdings 1, 2, and 3. Those are the ones that have more of the little graphics that you'll find. So if I scroll up and down, I'll see a little musical note. I'm going to select that and hit OK. Now, with the symbols, if I click on the font button here, I can actually, you are changing the actual symbol, not the text next to it. So there's a font button for the symbol. So these are actual fonts. So if I want, I can make it bold. I can actually make the symbol larger. I can change the color of the symbol if I want. So maybe I'll go into purple and then hit OK. And then if I hit OK, now you're saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, you got circles. Well, that has to do with the indents. So I'm going to go to the Home ribbon. And in the paragraph section, you notice that there's a left decrease indent and right increase indent button. Well, this always affects the bullets when you're working with bullet styles. So if I hit the left indent, notice that it does go back to the little musical notes. If I click on it again, now if I hit to the right, it indents it, it keeps the bullets. So as long as I, hit the indent, it goes to that level, and then it chooses that bullet. So you can see my little musical notes. And the bullet button is also here in the paragraph section on the Home ribbon. If I click on the drop down arrow next to it, go to Define New Bullet and use the picture, then if I have pictures that are on my machine, I can browse them, or again, you can go to the internet and grab any graphic that you want. I'm going to grab the little CD again. I'm going to hit Insert. And then one of the things with the pictures is you'll notice that I cannot change the font colors or anything like that because it's a graphic, so I can't do that. But if I hit OK, now I've got little CDs next to the names. So you can use the pictures or you can use the symbols for your bullets. I'm going to go back to the Design ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and look at page color. But before I can do that, I need to get rid of my watermark. So I'm going to go to Watermark, and I'm going to hit Remove Watermark. So any watermarks that you have, like text or pictures, will quickly take that off your document. If I go to Page Color, let's say I choose a solid color, or I could go to Fill Effects, and I can do my 2 color combinations. So I can pick the colors that I want. So if I want like a light purple, and then I want a white, and if you've ever used these before, you probably are familiar with these in the past. If I hit OK, it applies that to the background. If I go to Page Color, Fill Effects, you can also apply textures to the background, you'll notice. You can do patterns, and you can do pictures. The only problem with the pictures, you won't be able to use them as washouts. So when you do choose a graphic such as the CD, what it's going to do, instead of putting a big CD on it, you'll see what it's going to do in a second. It's going to automatically put the CDs, multiple CDs on the page. It kind of gives it a cool look, but you can see I can't adjust the color of it to make it lighter or anything like that. So if I go back and hit my undo button, I'm just going to go back to the color I picked originally. Now, if I go to File and if I go to Print, you're not going to see the color. And you say, well, why? Why isn't it printing the color? Well, one of the things that you have to do is over here where it says Page Setup. Click on Page Setup. Then go to the Paper tab. And then down here, click on the Print Options button and check Print Background Colors and Images. This actually takes you to the File Options Display window, and then you can check this box, hit OK, and by doing that, what it does is it will then print the color. So it's telling the printer to go ahead and print the background color that you see on the page. Now, if I want to, I can remove the color, just say no color, and then I can just go back to my watermark, which I'm just actually going to undo back to the CD that I had earlier. And finally, on the back page background section, there's page borders. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. We talked about borders around the text, but on the page border tab, in the middle, there's something called Art. If you click on the drop-down arrow, you'll notice as you scroll down, there's graphics that you can use. So if I decide that I want to use, say, the stars, I'll click on the stars, and then I'll hit OK. And it puts stars around the border of my page. If I go back to page border, I can increase the size of the stars. You can actually go as high as 31 points. You'll notice I can't change the color because they already have color to them. So if I hit OK, it makes the stars bigger. If it's running into your text and you want to change the margin of the border, you can go to Page Borders and then hit the Options button. And the highest it has it set for is 24, but you can actually change that and change the borders all the way around. So these are the margins for the borders. And if I hit OK and OK, you can see how it's separated it more from the heading so that it makes it a little bit. So you can go as high, or well, 24 is the highest, and as low as you want. Now with the page borders, also when you scroll down, you're going to notice that you also get into some black and white borders. So if you scroll down to those, like the notes, those you can actually make larger and smaller also, but you can also change the color of those. So if I decide that I wanted to change my notes, make them purple, then you can see that now the black and white ones, you can make whatever color you want. And also you can go to options and adjust those, but you can see it's whatever setting you set. Any of the borders that you choose, that setting is for all of them. So you might have to adjust it depending on what graphic you pick, but you can see now I have a border around my entire page. So I just took this document and I added graphics to it, watermarks, borders. I made a heading where I put a border around the text. I made drop caps in it to make it look nice. So I have this nice little document that we just created. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my save button. Now I'm going to bring up a blank document. I'm going to go to the insert ribbon and talk about cover pages. Now in Microsoft Word, they have this cover page feature where if you're looking for cover pages, you can automatically look through and just say you'd like some style here. So I'll pick this one. And what it does is it gives you a cover page with a blank page underneath. So if you want to make your documents look interesting, it's a quick way to do that. And if I go to the design ribbon, there's something called themes. Themes, the Office theme is the default. But if you notice here, there's other types of themes that if I hover over, you'll see how they're changing the color of the cover page that I selected. So they affect the colors in your document, they affect the font colors, even graphics. If I choose this theme here called Berlin, and then let's say I go to insert and I insert that quick part that I created earlier, the Elvis. Notice the color of the Elvis. Before it was blue. Now it's the colors of the theme that I chose in the design ribbon. I can also choose these document formatting, these affect like the spacing in the document. They can affect the text in the document, and you can go ahead and choose from those. You can also go in and choose your own colors. So you notice that even though I picked that theme, if I go more towards the purples, notice how the picture is changing. You could even go to customize colors, and you could go in and you could change the colors to whatever you want, save it, and then hit save, and then that would be a color choice here that you could choose from, your company colors. And then that way you could apply those colors to your document. The same with the fonts. You could go through here and you could pick the existing fonts, or if you want, you could go to customize fonts. You can choose the fonts that you want for headings and body, and then name it and save it, and then it would be an option here for you to choose from. So as you can see how the themes affect any of the graphics or colors of your document. If you want to go back to the default, if you click on the drop down arrow, it's called Office. But before I do that, I wanted to go to the Home ribbon and notice that if I click on the drop down arrow to the right of the A for font colors, notice the colors are different now. Notice that the colors are more purple, and I've got a purple and I've got the orange and the green, and that all has to do with the theme too. So it does affect your color choices in the document. It also affects the heading styles you'll see at the top. So basically those themes, if you notice, if I go back to Office and then go Home and click on the drop down, those are the basic colors you normally see. So they do have an effect on colors in your document. Now the other thing is, if you want, one of the things that you can do, and I'm going to go ahead and do Control A, is you can also save a page. So if you have a cover page that you created, you could select it, say save selection to cover page gallery, call it whatever you want. Now I know for a fact, because I have the columns in there, it's going to be a little bit different than normal. Just say you had one page with one column and you wanted to make it a cover page. Just select it, name it, hit OK. Then when I bring up a new document and I go to insert cover page, if I scroll down here, you'll see that there's that cover page, and it's got the heading at the top, it's got the watermark in the background. Now it did bring in the stuff as a different page because it just threw each of those columns on another page, which is okay. I could delete those. But you can see I have the border, I have the heading, I have the watermark. in the cover page feature. Now, if I want to get rid of those, I can right click on it. I can go to organize and delete. There it is right there. I can hit the delete button, take it out of the building block organizer, close it, and then I'm done with it. So I can just go ahead and close this. I'm not going to save it, and I'm back to my document. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And so I wanted to talk about themes and cover pages because a lot of people don't work with them a lot, or they don't understand why they're there. So I wanted you to see that you can use them to enhance your documents, or you can also create your own, and then you can apply, instead of always having to change the colors every time you go into a document, you can customize your own, and then that makes it easier for you to quickly format things when you're creating documents for yourself. But make sure that you're using the 2013 or 2010 features. If you're opening an old document and it says compatibility mode at the top, then that means it was an old version, and when you try to open it up, if you try to use some of the features in Word, they may not work, the new features. So you have to convert. If you go to File and you go to Info, if there's a convert button here, then you want to convert it so you can use the new features. But if you're still working with clients or people who are still using 2003, you may not be able to do that because they wouldn't be able to see or use those features. So I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to open up a new document. And now what I want to do is I want to create a flyer. So I wanted to talk about some of the things on the insert ribbon, such as word art and shapes and things like this screenshot. So I'm going to go to the word art text box, word art. Notice that the word art has changed in the newer versions of Word. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick a word art style. Again, there's the text wrapping button or layout. So if I click on it and choose through, then that way I'll be able to go ahead and just quickly move my text on my page. Now you also will notice as I'm moving my text that I'm seeing alignment lines appear, and you see that I get the vertical and horizontal. So under alignment, it says use alignment guides, align to margins. So basically it's as I'm aligning it, it's showing me where my margins are, and it's also kind of helping me to line it up in the center of the page. But one of the things is if I hit align and I hit align center, it automatically centers the text for me, so I don't have to figure out where the center of the page is. Or if I want to align it to the left of the page or to the right of the page. Also, if you want to align it to the middle and the middle center, and then you say align center middle, it'll put it right in the middle of the page. So this alignment button, which is on the format ribbon of the drawing tool, because this is word art, you can see that it quickly aligns it for you. So if I hit align center, align top, it puts it right in the middle. Now I'm going to go ahead and click 3 times to highlight the text, and I'm going to go ahead and type that. I'm going to make a little flyer here using the word art. So I'm going to go ahead and type it's Sherry's Day. Now, because this is word art, there is a word art formatting ribbon, and if I want, I can change the color of the text inside, the border, the text fill. I can go ahead and change the outline color if I want. I can change the text effects and add glow to it to kind of make it glow if I want. I can even go to transform, and if you remember the old days of the word art where you could actually take it and you can make it wavy or whatever, notice how it makes it wavy, and then I have my text at the top of my document. You can double click anywhere in Word and you can start typing if you want. Or what you can do is use the text box feature. Now I'm going to use the first one, which is the simple text box, and then I'll talk about the other ones in a minute. But if I click on that one and then I go ahead and type my text, so I'm going to go ahead and type when and tab over and say August 15th, and then where. And this is set right now for that double spacing, so I could fix that later, but I don't want to if you notice the paragraph spacing, because that's the spacing in Word. And I'll talk about that real quick. Basically, when you're working in Microsoft Word and you go to the home ribbon, the paragraph, the spacing is defaulted to, if I click here and go to the little button in the corner of the paragraph mark, you'll notice that even though my spacing is set to single, the after spacing is set to 8. I'm going to go back to 0 and hit OK, and then that will get rid of that. If you click here and you change it to single and you change this to 0, 0, and you want it to be that way from now on, hit Set as Default, all documents based on the normal template. That way, when you do it, it means every time you open up a blank template or Word document, it'll be set the way you want. And that just gets rid of that goofy spacing in the document that's not, you know, the default. So you can set that up. And then I can make this bold. I can change the color. I can use the big A to change the font if I want. I can size this. Now, if you want to get rid of the line, then if you go to the Format ribbon where it says Shape Outline, go ahead and click on that and choose No Outline. You'll see a line when you're working with the text, but when you click away from it, it'll look like you just typed it on the document. The other thing they did is under text boxes is they created these different styles of text boxes that you can choose from. So if I decide I like this one, I can just take it and drag it alongside the document. And then if I want to, I could, you know, if I don't want a title here, you know, I can get rid of it, or I can just click here and just say contact information. I don't know why this is giving me a hard time. Okay. In it. So RSVP to sue@gmail.com or 330-456-1212. So I have the text in here, and if I want now, I can go to the Format ribbon. I could align it. I can say Align Middle and drop it down. The text doesn't allow me the text fill, text direction. I can do the text direction. I could do the align text middle is what I want. This isn't acting the way it was supposed to. But anyways, what this would do is if I had this selected, I think I'm frozen. I'm going to save it. I'm just going to call it flyer. And I'm going to go ahead and open it back up. And I don't know where it went. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and open up the one I created earlier. And as you can see by this one, I have here that I can highlight the text. So when I go to Format, I can go ahead and do the align text, like the middle towards the top at the bottom, and I can do that if I want. So I can automatically do that. So I'm going to kind of get rid of this stuff here, go back to where I was, so you can see that I have this set up. Now, if I want, I can go to Insert, and I'm going to go ahead to Online Picture, and I'm going to go ahead. But you know, I've been doing that. I'm going to show the people that don't have 2013, because you can do this in 10 too. So if you do go to the internet, and let's say that I type, you know, birthday cake, then just right click on the image that you want. Let's say this one here. I don't know. Let's just pick one. We'll say this one. We'll hit copy. Then all you do is go back to your document, and then when you do the paste and you paste it, it's going to do the same thing. So now I pasted it. I'm going to go to Format. I'm going to go to the Wrap Text feature, and choose through, and then I'm able to move it. Then I can also remove the background. So one of the things about it, if you don't want the background, sometimes it comes with a graphic, you can do that. And if I hit keep changes, you can see that I have the cake. Maybe I would have to play with that a little more to get more of that graphic in there. But then I could change the color, I could change the artistic effects, so it could kind of make it look unique and different and whatever you wanted to do with it. And just hover over the different options that you have. And then you can just actually change that graphic for yourself, which is what we did. Then the other thing too is if we wanted to add a shape, we would go to Insert Shapes, maybe do a star. Now, anytime you see a little yellow square in a shape, if you point to it, are people hearing me? Because I think I lost everybody. I'm not sure. Oh, here we are. Okay. All right, good. So now I lost my screen, so that's why. So now if you notice the little yellow square, if I point to it and then move it, watch what happens. It's going to automatically change the shape of the star that I just picked. So anytime you see that little yellow square, like for instance, if you inserted the smiley face, which is right there. So let's say I draw that, I could actually click that little yellow square and then I can make them sad. So, you know, you can always change it. It's kind of interesting. Back to the shape. So if I go ahead, I can type right in it. So I'm going to type #1 star. And if I want, I can then go to the internet, and let's say that I bring up a picture of, I'll type Susan. I don't know who we're going to get today, but we have, okay, so we have different people, and I want a face, so maybe I just want to capture somebody's face. I can go ahead and go back to Word. I can go to Insert Screenshot, Screen Clipping, and then when it grays it out, I can just capture the person's face, and I have the face. I can change it to through, and by doing that, you can just then take the face and then just put it inside. And if I want to remove the background, well, that doesn't look good. And then I have the person's face inside. So I did a screenshot. And then to follow it up, you know, maybe I just want to say, you know, happy birthday. And I can right click on the graphic that I want. There's all kinds of things that you can choose from. I can copy, and I'll just paste it. Control V is paste. Again, change the wrapping. You know, changing the wrapping to through is what allows you to just move everything around the way you want it. And again, you know, it just gives you so many options to do it that way. So it just kind of makes it, you know, look fun and allows you to just kind of change it and make it look good. So now that's just kind of playing around with the word art, the graphics, you know, the things that you can use. Now, also the other thing that you can do in Word, and then you could put, you know, a watermark back there if you wanted. You could make a picture a watermark. So if I wanted to make this picture a watermark, remember I would put it behind the text, and then I would just, you know, drag it out, and I could make it a watermark that way too. Now, if I go to File and I go to the New, one of the things with Word, especially, you know, 10 and 2013, is that, you know, they have a lot of templates that you can use it's almost like Publisher. So if you notice, you have your basic letters and resumes and faxes and labels, but they also have cards. So you can click on the cards and get all kinds of different cards that come up that you can choose from. Believe it or not, Christmas, and what did I see the other day? 19 Fridays till Christmas. I didn't like to see that. I don't need to see that right now. But anyway, so you can see that there are, Halloween, birthday. So you click on it, you hit create, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to bring up a layout just like Publisher. So you do get Microsoft Publisher. Maybe that might be another webcast in the future. But you could add graphics to this. You could add, text boxes. You could create a text box and put your text in there. So you can do that. And then you could type your text on the side, print it. You have a birthday card. You'll notice that some other things that they had in here were calendars. So if you wanted to create like an event calendar, you could go ahead and choose from that, or just print a nice calendar for yourself. They have those features. So they have a lot of templates that are available to you. You could see over here then when I choose that, you can just pick the weekly calendars. And so if you want, these are actually coming from different programs, and you can then use what you learned today to work with the different templates that are in Microsoft Word. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. I hope that, other than the little glitch that we had with the freezing, I hope that you enjoyed learning about how to work with the graphics and the columns, the drop caps, the watermarks, the graphics and the page borders to enhance your documents in the future. And I look forward to the next webcast is Visio. Microsoft Visio is a diagram program. A lot of people use it for flow charts and organizational charts. And there are tips that if you know how to work with, it will help you to work with the program more effectively and quickly. So if you have any questions, we do have a little chat window. In the meantime, thank you for participating in today's webcast. See you next month. Thank you.